Law of responsibility in operation. Responsibilities derive from incompletion. Since oneness is eternally whole and complete, it does not have responsibilities. Responsibility is a function of conscience. Therefore, it seems logical that any being with a conscience has responsibilities. A being's station or level of development affects their responsibilities and provides a platform for that being to discover and implement their duties. All activities work through a system, and systems have definite structures. The structure of conscience resides in the complete knowingness of being. Revealed in humanity. Human beings are responsible up to our level of learning. What we expect from a child is different from what we expect from a functional adult, for example. Based on our knowledge and wisdom, we are responsible for the actions we take and for the actions we do not take. Making an innocent mistake does not lead to the same repercussions as knowingly ignoring your responsibility. Responsibility is the general playing field, active arena, or operational space for human life, and duties are the actions that resolve our responsibilities. In other words, duties are generated from responsibilities. To gain awareness of responsibilities, become competent at listening to conscience, which keeps you from meddling where you do not need to meddle and prompts you to take action where your action is required. Working effectively with duties and responsibilities is the beginning of wisdom. Access wisdom through being, which means understand how actions affect relationships. Left to our own devices, most people are naturally fulfilling responsibilities and duties. When we are not hindered and burdened by negative influences, people tend to behave responsibly no matter where they are on the spiritual journey. For example, people take pride in their work, they take care of their families, and they live by some moral code. Most people have some connection with conscience unless they are devoid of conscious light, which is often labeled evil or sociopathic. Responsibilities are personal, even if they occur within a group setting. All actions are taken by individuals, and we are responsible and are held accountable as individuals. We are each responsible for our own conversations and actions. In other words, group responsibility is generated from the responsibilities of individuals in the group. As human beings, we will always have responsibilities that lead toward completion. In fact, providing opportunities for completion may be the purpose of the mundane world. Perhaps when humanity is complete with the physical universe, we will switch to existing in the consciousness realm. Antithesis. Your incompletions live in a field of possibility, and you can choose to withdraw from the field. In other words, the antithesis of responsibility is leaving the playing field or the space where responsibilities and duties are given because of incompleteness. If you leave the field, you miss the opportunity to resolve and progress. You can remove yourself for the time being, which postpones the completion of your recompense or karma. You can walk away from your responsibilities, but ultimately, you cannot walk away from accountability. Another antithesis of fulfilling your responsibilities is distracting yourself by focusing on irrelevant diversions or lower level priorities. Blaming other people is also a way of avoiding responsibilities. For example, blaming other people for one's own incompetence prevents learning, which keeps a person stuck. Being stuck means failing to graduate from current responsibilities. Engaging in various forms of victimhood delays a person from feeling whole, harmonious, and complete. Misusing the law of responsibility or any other law of being is a violation of the law of non-interference. Violations negate the ability to take action from being and therefore the benefits that could be realized. Misusing responsibility includes burdening others beyond the scope of their competency or capacity, obstructing people from fulfilling their path, or misstating the way the universe works, such as telling people they can do whatever they want, regardless of their responsibilities and duties. Application: how to live responsibly. Not doing your duties or doing them improperly affects you, other beings, and the universe in general. The more you progress, the more responsible you are expected to be. Practice listening to conscience, the universe, the intelligence, or whatever you call divine guidance, and learn how to fulfill your responsibilities by following the law of duty. Be aware of time, place, and condition, and ensure the context is proper for you to take action. The pathway to fulfilling your responsibilities will always be provided, but it is up to you to discern the openings and closings in your current situation. Sometimes other people need to be available so that you can proceed appropriately. Notice that ego or sense consciousness often tries to take over and hijack operations of conscience. Sometimes people use responsibilities against each other for their own personal gain. For example, sometimes people try to make each other feel guilty and they hurt each other in the process. If you feel overwhelmed by responsibilities, sort out which ones are given to you by being, which is the expression of consciousness, and which ones you are adopting because of a personal agenda, habit, or conditioning. Due to laws of being, you will never be given more responsibilities than you can handle. This is because purposely overwhelming someone would break the law of honesty. Honesty acknowledges the facticity of what someone is prepared to accomplish. In other words, it would be dishonest to expect more of someone than they are equipped to deliver. Once you are aware of being, which is the I am, or consciousness in action, then your responsibilities increase. While you are not held to strict standards for concepts you do not know, you are encouraged to recognize your responsibilities. It is always effective to prioritize by listening to conscience.